So, this is your host, Steve from the back, coming at you again, as, as usual. And, you know, I'm just shaking my head because this is something I don't like to speak on for obvious reasons due to the political situation that we find ourselves in, um, due to the racial divide between black people and white people for various reasons, right? I always kind of allude to this on rants, but I don't usually like really go deep into it. I did on some rants. I may don't like quote me, but I may leave links in the description. So I just watched this video, and this guy was talking about this Jeremy Brown story, and you guys are probably familiar with this whole Jeremy Brown story thing, which I'm not. I just found out about this, and it was really profound what this guy was talking about, and I agree with this man. Um, and it's really weird because like this is something I've been thinking about lately, but it seems to just keep reaffirming itself, and this should be common sense. But it just keeps reaffirming itself to me through different situations. And part of what I want to talk about is how like yeah, we get mad, like we all get mad. But when we get mad and then we get violent, um, you know, often, and this guy was talking about conflict resolution. Often the conflict can be resolved, and we don't have to go to violence. We don't have to get to this. We don't have to. We don't have to throw hands. We don't. We don't. That should be like kind of a last resort. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of defending yourself. Like if you feel you are either in danger, you know what I mean, or you feel like someone is trying to what's the word? I can't even think of the word. But like someone is trying to like attack you or something. You know what I mean? Like, and you can tell that like it's not that there's a conflict that can be resolved. It's that this person is going to try to put their hands on you. You know what I mean? So you know, obviously you're going to use your skills that you have to defend yourself, and you're going to use your strengths and advantages to your advantage, and you're going to protect yourself. But that's different. This whole thing about us, and I'm not saying it's just black people, but this is a often thing with us. Like we get hot-headed, and then we assault someone, and it turns into a fight, and then it escalates into something else. And I actually had an incident that happened not too recently where I was out in the rain, and so I'm coming down these steps, and I see two figures of two people, and I notice it's a man and a woman. It's a black man, an older black man, not like old, but he's older than me, I would assume by looking at him. Um, and in my opinion, just by looking, I'm not trying to insult this man, but he had like an older man's type of movement in my opinion. Like he didn't look. Maybe I'm misjudging this guy. Maybe I'm underestimating him, but in my opinion, he looked tired. If you know what I mean, he looked kind of tired. Like he didn't look. So in my mind, I'm not looking at him as like a threat of any sort, really. Now I don't know this man, so I don't know what he's really capable of. But it's just from my like analysis and the way I analyze things and people in subtle things, to me he looked really tired. Like he looked like, I hate to say it, but he looked like somebody who I can handle very very easily. You know what I mean? Him and the woman, probably both at the same time. Just saying, like what I'm saying is, I looked at myself and thought of like, to me, it would not seem like them, well, even both would be a threat. To me, it seems like I would be the threat. You know, um, so he notices that like I'm kind of waiting for them to say something or maybe make a movement or something so I can either go through, or them go through, or whatever, however, you know what I mean. And he's just like, he's like, come on, man, like he said it in a very rude way. So one part of my brain is like, yo, hold up, like one part of this I mean about, like, the wild jungle Negro, I don't want to use the word, but you know what I'm saying. The nigga, the nigga shit, you know. Just saying. I hate to say it like that, but just say, in my brain was about to say, wait, hold up, old man. Like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Watch your tone, buddy. Because honestly, I don't know if you know who you're talking to. I don't know you, but I don't know if you know me. So you really shouldn't just be talking, to me any type of way. Right? I could have took that route, right? It's one part of my brain for a second, instinctually, like off of programming, just had that. That was my first thought, to think like, wait a minute, we're about to see, old man. If you are, if you're one of these, how do I say it? If you're the friggin' Genfu Papa-san old man, or are you just one of these old, just, whatever, bums out here that I'm gonna beat the crap out of, literally, just for a lack of a better term, and your girl, or whoever this lady is with you, if she, it depends, like, however this happens, if I get angry and I feel like, okay, you know, I might have to do something like reckless. Um, but that was my first thought. But then my second thought was, wait, hold on. First thought, I don't know this guy. So what if it's a stretch? But like, say, what if this individual is someone that, like, is someone that would be an issue for me physically, right? Then I'm thinking, like, also, I don't know who these people know. You know what I mean? Then I'm thinking also, um, what if this could be de-escalated, and I shouldn't even say anything? Like, I should just let it go, right, and just keep on walking, just keep walking. And that's what I ended up doing. I just kept walking. You um, because I'm thinking, like, wait a second, this is gonna be this is gonna end with the police call. Like, this is not gonna end well. So I'm just gonna just keep walking. You know what I mean? Um, and I'm not gonna get into that. You know, someone's gonna be mad. But I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna be on that shit. I'm not gonna get into that jungle Negro mentality. Because a lot of us, yeah, that's in us. Yeah, that's what we come from. But we have to understand that. Look, this is a key thing. We live in a world where society, some people in society do not respect us. They don't see us. It's true. This guy said they don't see us as a social class to be respected. They see us as a bunch of goddamn apes. It's what it is. Just a bunch of hooping and howling, goddamn low IQ apes that are hot headed, angry, and will put themselves in jail quicker than you can blink. In literally, before I even heard of this whole, what's it called, what's his name again, the guy that got shot by the 14-year-old, Jeremy something, or whatever. So I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not don't know this guy too well, so I'm sorry if I'm even forgetting his name already. But the point is, they don't respect us as a social class for these reasons. You know what I'm thinking? Like, so what if I was thinking in my head, like, okay, so what if I started a fight? Because instinctually, in second, that was where my mind went. My mind said, "Whoa!" Because of your tone, bro. Like, it was just because your tone made me think that I was going to have to show you that, like, it's not smart to be raising your voice like at a person like me for no reason. Like, it's not something you just want to just do. It's really stupid. But then I'm also thinking, you know what? Whatever. These people don't know me. I don't know them. It doesn't even have to be like something. I've had instances. This is not truth. I've had instances in my life to where I could have, like, said or did a certain thing to a person, and I chose to take the higher road and not take such a crazy, dangerous, drastic approach to something, and then later on they actually respected me, and they got the point like later on, and they thought, oh, you know what, I probably shouldn't have did that, but they respected me because I behaved like a friggin' human being and not an animal. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying all to say this is that like, and I don't know who this guy is either. You know what I mean? I don't know who this individual was. You know, um, but even me being myself, knowing that I'm capable of things, doesn't just talk to people. I just don't talk to people a certain way for whatever various reasons. You know what I mean? Even someone that like, you know, for whatever reason, maybe to them would think that I'm mentally ill or whatever or not there because I'm not necessarily speaking or saying anything. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not gonna. But my point is that like this whole knee jerk reaction with violence and uh, it goes deeper than just that. But that's a huge part of it. Is, you know, the lack of like using your intellectual skills and thinking like, wait a second, do I want to cause trouble that could possibly put me or someone else in danger or in jail or myself in danger and like all like or how is it about act like an adult and just let crap just go? You know what I mean? Go about your business and just let it go. You know what I mean? Now I will admit, I'll just be honest. If it was another person that I'd seen on different occasions act like a dang buffoon, and I knew it was a certain person that either thinks they're a bully or I don't like for various reasons or something, I will admit, in that moment, I would have said something. I wouldn't have did something first. I would have waited for a physical reaction, but I would have said something to let them know, like, hey, it's on. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't back down, it's on right now. You know what I mean? Like, because that's not gonna fly. But the thing about this person's demeanor is, one, in that instance, before that, you know, it just seemed like they were just being a little bit just rude. You know what I mean? But I've seen this person before, and I've never seen from this individual any like, doesn't seem like a type of person that I would feel this like um impulse or compulsion to want to harm them. Like they're just a generally really bad person, and they're just reckless and careless out here, and they're always just taking advantage of people, or they're always just trying to be a bully because they think that someone is someone like a bully or whatever. So no, but you know, like I said, instinctually, and this is a problem we have. And also, I'm gonna say, just in general, like I thought of this, right? I thought of like just in general, like us as a culture, this is a thing, and this is gonna make a lot of people mad. But I'm just gonna say it as I think it. We lack. I may have said this before. We lack like a elegance. Like it's not just even it's a lot of things. It's an elegance we lack. There's a rationality mentally we lack. There is a rationality physically we lack. There's a delusional aspect to us as a culture, as black people, where we, you know, it's like we don't understand how to make things work. Like we don't understand how to carry ourselves. We don't understand how to make the right decisions, have self control. Um, we don't we sacrifice like petty things. Like for instance, you know, having your life taken, and then also having someone put in jail. And I'm not saying that obviously there's more under the surface to everything, but I'm like saying generally when you're talking about like you know you're in a food place in order, someone's taking too long. If you're gonna let yourself get that crazed that you know start physically assaulting and a woman, mind you, too, you know what I mean? Like you're physically assaulting a woman. It that's animalistic. That's like this is what I mean about the thing. Like when I looked at myself and I thought of you know my first knee jerk instinct, and I was like, nah, wait a minute, I'm not no goddamn animal. I was like, and I'm not going to be being put in jail, putting myself in jail. I noticed the area where this person verbally, you know, was a little bit rude. There was a camera right there, and I noticed. Now I'm thinking of it, there could be more than one camera. from it could be one this angle, one that angle. I'm thinking like, wait a second, nah, this is not even. And like I said, there's a woman there. He's because he's with a woman, and I'm like thinking like, you know what, nah, just no. This is not it. Like this is not. No. Like I could see if it was like you're coming through there at night or something, and a couple guys pop out of nowhere in a threatening demeanor. You know what I mean? Um, that's much different. You know what I mean? But you're walking. This is daylight. This is daytime. It's just rainy. We're walking. This person is just was being a little bit rude and reckless and careless with the way their tone, the way they said something. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like we gotta just let that go. Like we just keep it moving. You know what I mean? Keep it moving. Let it go. You know what I mean? Let it go. And it's what I'm saying is it's small things like that that we need to be better about. And like I really said, like I said, the elegance. Like so, you look at other cultures. From friggin' British to Indian to Pakistani to Jew to uh whatever Chinese, all the way to friggin' German to what do they call what's it called? People come from Ecuador. It's like I'm just being honest. Like when you look at us as like blacks and then Africans, you're African Americans like myself, and you got Africans. You have all these blacks. What you have to realize is there is a there is a very, especially, I'm just gonna be honest. Us African Americans in America. There is this wild, unruly, unkept uh nature that prevails over us that causes us to always, for lack of a better term, screw ourselves. You know what I mean? You know what I really want to say, but we screw ourselves over because we can't get a grip. Hold on, making sure this volume is up. So because we can't like really get a grip, and we can't have self control, and then we also uh, scrutinize each other because we want to be so quote unquote black that we can't assimilate into the other cultures. Like we can't learn to have class, to have elegance, to have dignity, and so on and so forth, to the point to where I'm shaking my head because it's like it's not comical, but it's hurt. It hurts. Like it hurts. It hurts when I think about this. About how like it actually does. Like when I think about how like okay, if you go to like a whiter, more wealthy part of a city or city or town, wherever, and then you go into these little areas that have all these concentrations of Negroes like myself, um, and a lot of them they're not conservative like myself. They're not leaning more towards Republican. They're not understanding why we need to try to like build things just like all these other people, just like the white people. In fact, we need to learn from these so-called white people. You know what I mean? Which, just to be honest, I've been learning like so many white people are so mixed anyway that it's like I don't even know what is really white anymore. Because what I'm saying is a lot of these white people, so many of them actually, they're mixed up anyway. Like they have genes from every other thing too. You know what I mean? They have indigenous genes, they got Asian genes, they got all these other genes mixed into their whiteness. You know what I mean? That it's like yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? You call it what white, whatever. You know what I mean? I think there's whiter than even that, but the point I'm trying to make is that people get so stuck on this whole white black white that they misunderstand that like a lot of people that you think are like white, they're not as white as you think. You know what I mean? Also, what I'm saying is like we what I'm trying to say is we don't assimilate with we don't learn from them. We don't learn like watch we don't sit there and learn from like the what's his name Warren Buffett, you know what I mean? And like men have that have made money. You know, um, we don't look at certain creative content creators and people that have made money. You know, these so-called white boys and old white dudes that we like to say, and you know, we we need to learn from these people. You know what I mean? Like we need to understand. There's things that we need to understand that we need to learn. Okay, like I'm just saying, like we are not in the jungle anymore. Okay, so what I'm saying is like when you go to these places and you see all these concentrations of these type of blacks that look like me, and you got people from the outside looking in, looking at like why is everyone's cousin in this gang? They're shooting. Why is all these people selling dope? They're selling drugs. They're like trap houses. It's like wait, actually, open your eyes for 1 second. Really, just look at what's going on. So you mean to tell me that like this is what we are doing in clusters and given like I said, we are not. We need to learn this. This can't work anymore. Like this just can't work because one of the biggest things, and like I was saying about the guy like the older man and the woman and thinking like there comes a point where you have to learn that like there's a such thing as the law. There's a such thing as like uh that you have to let something go. There's a such thing as like trouble. There's a such thing as like this is not the jungle. You know what I mean? We are not just animals. Uh, I laughed because this character in this movie, I'm just being honest, reminded me a little bit of myself actually. Uh, if you've ever seen the Sonic movie and there's Knuckles in the movie, when Knuckles goes to shake Doctor Robotnik's hand and he basically is like crushing, just crushing his hand, and you can just tell like you can just tell there's like this very primal, strong, you know, that's a very like primate jungle thing. Like he just he's an animal. You know what I mean? He's literally an animal. You know what I mean? He literally is an animal. But the point I'm trying to make is like that. Like, don't you know? You're always gonna have a certain part of you that is very primal and that comes from a certain thing and you know why. But you have to learn balance. Like you have to learn that like that's not what this life is. Like we are more than animals. You know what I mean? We're not some apes that live in little clusters and just kill each other and do stupid things and will never learn and we have low IQ, low vibration, low this brains in whatever to where, we're just stupid ass apes that will perpetuate the cycle of just retardation and stupidity. No. My point is that we have to be better than that and we can and some of us will. I'm not gonna say all, but some of us will uh, escape that cycle. Okay, and that's what we should be doing as black people. We should be doing just that. And like the thing about them having this whole knockout king on the casket and a dollar and in the bag man and all that, man, it's okay. It's okay to joke around and make jokes and stuff. It's okay to have a good sense of humor. And I'm gonna be honest. It's like duh us as blacks obviously have some of the best senses of humor, like obviously, like with every other thing. You know what I mean? So whatever, funny people, yes, but we have to be serious sometimes. And like this guy made a good point. Like we don't even know how to grieve. We can't be on some ghetto ass shit with Bagman, Knockout King, yada yada, turning what do you call a funeral into a damn party, twerking in the streets, twerking, and you have kids. This is the truth with this. This is I agree. This is a problem. This is a huge problem. It's like is as a culture, these are some of the reasons why other cultures don't respect us. This is why they don't respect us. Because shit like that, like it's like it's not rational. Like you're thinking, wait, you have children, so why are you twerking on online or twerking in the street? You have children, or you're supposed to be an influence. And I think I'm going to call this rant lead by example. You know, it's like that's what I mean about rationality. Rationality should tell you like, nah, that's just not gonna work. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things I won't do as myself. Like yeah, I know how to have a good time, and I'm a black man. I mean, I'm trying to be stereotypical. Come on, of course I know how to have a good time. Of course I have a good sense of humor. Okay, duh. Like come on, like bro, just come on. Of course, I know how to have a goddamn good time. But what I mean about rationality is rationality will tell you certain things. Like for instance, you're not going to see me inebriated outside. You're not. You're not going to see it because it's too easy to get into trouble. It's too. You're not going to see me do certain things. Um, you're not going to see me just do certain things, and you're not going to see me once I see certain activity be involved or in a certain area or group when I see certain things going on because I know it's not going to lead to anything good. So that's my whole point about how like these are things that we need to learn, and these are things that are supposed to be common sense, but we feel like we are exempt or we're some type of we always feel like as us as we're black we don't need to do that, or you know we psychologically trick ourselves to believe that we have a guardian angel that's going to protect us from failure and getting in trouble or things like jail, or how do you think the situation's going to play out, you know what I mean? Like of course this is not going to play out good. It's like the illusion of thinking that you will evade. It's like the whole drug deal illusion. Like you think, oh yeah, you're gonna make big bucks because money is fast. You think that you're not gonna get caught, right? Until you get caught. So it's the illusion that it's even feasible that you're not gonna get caught. It's like that thing. That's an illusion. I had an experience that one time really taught me that was like I was like, you know what, it's an illusion that I think I'm gonna get away with something. Like it's an illusion that I think I'm not gonna get caught. It's an illusion. So I'm like, you know what? It just no. You know what I mean? It's an illusion. So it's that. And like I said, you can have a good time. Like in this setting like this, like you could have a good time in a private setting, and you can get as loose as you want and drink and crack jokes or whatever and whatever. But this whole culture where we like to push the boundaries of what's legal, really, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, why would you be driving to a party, with certain substances? Why would you be in certain settings with certain, let's just call them tools? We'll just use the word tools. We all know what that really means. Why would you have these certain things on your, your person in vehicles and like, because you're setting yourself up for failure. You know what I mean? So it's a fantasy, it's like an illusion in a romanticized fantasy that a lot of us black people fall into these pit holes and traps of like thinking that we can get away with these things and we can live this way because everybody else is doing it. In the video they do the music video, and so and so does, and my cousin is, and my brother, and um this, that, and third, everybody does this. Just like when you see videos of people shooting their guns off, like you're at a party and you're on a balcony and you're shooting a gun off into the air. So the song you're like, hey, hey, just no, just no. That's what I mean. Like shit like that. Just no. That's just a no. It's just fuck no. Just fuck no. Not no, but fuck no. Sorry, I want to curse, but I just had to say, fuck no. Now, if you have some weird type of design place where you can shoot a gun off and like no danger to you, yourself, or people around you, I mean, if you have the money to just waste ammo, I guess. I don't know if that's just you want to have a good time, fine. And that's what I mean. Like, don't get me wrong. There are certain things that I like. I say, I'm about. And it's not about shooting guns off in the air. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a person that appreciates weapons. I mean, I've showed weapons on this channel before. I have, so like, duh, I'm a martial artist. You know what I mean? I appreciate weapons in general, in part of the the just general culture of carrying, but you have to understand like a time and a place, and you have to do things in a certain manner. This is what I mean about like we are not just monkeys. We are not apes. We are not Knuckles Sonic the Hedgehog. You know what I mean? Just breaking Dr. Robotnik's hand because you're just, I laugh at that because, like, I swear, man, sometimes that's literally is my mentality. When I get up out of bed, I'm like an ape. I'm just like I don't look like it, but that's my mentality internally, my demeanor. It's just everything. Just about like everything. But I realize that, like, man, that's what they call that's that low vibrational. That I know it's not all you guys are like spiritual, but that's what that is. That's a literally low vibrational. That is some literal ape shit. Like that's a part of every person at their core. Us being technically apes, us having an animal part of our brain, us having a fight or flight, us having a part of us that is just instinctual and very what's the word uncivilized, trying to think of the word. It's no etiquette. It's just instinct based. It's just, and especially if you're a male. I'm a male, a straight male, a masculine male. Obviously, it's Sonic the Hedgehog Knuckles when I get up in the morning. You know what I mean? Well, duh, and a black man. But all at the same time, I have to understand that I'm supposed to still be a gentleman. You know what I mean? I'm a guy who's looking for a wife. I have to be a gentleman. I have to be someone's husband someday. So if I'm gonna be some woman's husband someday, obviously there's some things that have to be, you know, kept a certain way, and there has to be a balance. Obviously, if I want to be someone who like I have dreams of making money, so if I want to make money, I cannot be uh what's that song? What is it? I'm trying to think. It's one of my favorite songs. It's from D12. We all die one day. I can't be uh silverback gorilla in the concrete jungle. I'm the hardest around. You know how I get down. 50 Cent. I no, I can't have Sonic Knuckles mentality when I wake up. Knuckle dragging like you know, no. Like at the slightest, what's the word? Slightest aggravation, I feel like I literally want to try to, you know, hurt somebody. Nah, just no, no, just no, no. Like there has to be there has to be a rational, civilized, calm. You know what I mean? Like you have to look into the future. Like, what do you really want in this life? Like, what means more to you? Does asserting your dominance over a person because you want to make a point, because you wanted to get out your aggression, because you wanted to get out your anger, or you want to teach someone a lesson because you felt they did you wrong and it's revenge and all this, is that in that moment worth more than like possibly having a life of good times, good memories, accomplishing things? It's like you have to weigh those out, and I feel like what I'm saying to us as blacks is like we have a self-destructive mentality that causes us to totally what's the word I can't even think what I'm trying to the word to say this the right word we totally sabotage that in a moment's notice, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for everybody, and it's horrible because, like I said, it makes us not just look like apes, like you know, just keep it 100. Like we're not just out here just looking like some goddamn apes, but we're out here acting and looking like some goddamn apes, and being and literally in that moment being some apes. You know what I mean? Like literally in that moment, being apes. Just come on. Let's just keep it real. It is what it is. If it was any other person, it'd still be the same shit. If you were white, you're still acting. You're still an ape. I mean, you're still an ape regardless. But what I'm saying is, now you're actually putting yourself. Let me say it in this way, so it doesn't sound so offensive or angering to people. You're putting yourself in a position that will be able to put you in front of people via court, law enforcement. You're putting yourself in a place to where you are going to be judged as an ape. You are looked at as an ape and housed as one, restrained as one. And, at that point, you're literally going to be put in a cage depending on. So, I'm just calling it as it is. I'm just calling. If you really understand what I just said there, you'll understand what I'm saying. So, my point is this. My point is we do have to do better, right? And another thing I'm going to say, and I think I'm going to cut it off here, is all of this bullshit about like this whole fake, and I'm just going to say what it is. It's because it's all fucking fake. This whole Black Lives Matter, the Democratic Party, the LGBT whatever, thinking that they're going to meld with the black and then in the disabled and the trans, and I think all these uh uh I don't know, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but I'm going to say all of these more less favorable, let's just call them, groups think that they want to somehow intertwine with black somehow. It's not gonna, that doesn't work. No. What happens is everybody, whoever you are, regardless of what group you're from, needs to do what you know needs to get done for you to be successful, right? So it's basically what I'm saying is cut the bullshit, right? Stop blaming people for your problems. Take ownership over your own bullshit. Be accountable for shit you do, and then do what you know is the right thing. And even though you may think you're right and you may feel like angry or whatever, learn to act like a damn human being so you can live out here and be free and not behind bars and not be in situations to where, you know, uh, it could be worse than whatever. Like you could die, someone else could, you know. My point is, we have to learn that we have to be productive citizens. You know what I mean? And we have to play that game because we are human beings. Like I said, the illusion that you can be like I said, the apes and live in society amongst the free and or amass to be like a person of status or wealth or whatever, or just let's say just have a happy life, because obviously if you had just enough money you'll solve a lot of problems. Learn that like the road to that path is not, it's delusional for you to think, and this is for black people, this is for everyone, but especially for us black people, is delusional for you to think that you're going to ever even try to get there believing your current beliefs. Like you think that like, oh, you're not black if you do this, oh, if you're into this political party you're not black, or oh, you're helping the destruction of your own race if you're trying to get ahead this way through these means, or oh, I can cheat the system and I can do it the hood way, and I can I can do this or sell this, or I can do no, it's all a fucking delusion. It's all a fucking delusion. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So what I'm really saying is it's time for us to grow up. Like it's time for us to grow up just like the Indian man grew up, the Asian man, the Korean and the Chinese man and Japanese man, and the Russian, and then you got the Finnish and all these all these other races, and the Hispanic, and it's time for us as black people to grow up. That's all it is. Like it's time for you to set aside all the bullshit and be an adult and grow up so you can have something, right? That's really all it is. And then also, it may help to have a little class because, like, I actually was hurt secondhand hearing the story about how they did this funeral. Like, I was like, you know what, man, that's bullshit. Deep down, that hurt. That actually really struck a nerve. Like, I was like, nah, man. I was like, you know what, that crazy shit just makes us look like some fucking apes. And worse than that, that doesn't even make us look like apes. That makes us look like some fucking retards. Like, seriously, on the casket, it's like, that shit is a joke that you post on, like, that's like a fucking picture that you Photoshop and make as a joke. Like, that's not something you really would ever want to put on a casket. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay. I could also say this. Yeah, you can honor the dead however you want. You could do a funeral how you want, but just really, it's kind of like really. And this is the most important thing that this guy said that I think I'm going to, because I need to make this short. I keep rambling. When he said, how do you put it? He said something like, I'm trying to think. I forgot how he said. He said something like, something about like that. You know, oh, we don't learn from it. That's the thing. Like, we have a party, we party, we think like, oh yeah, we had a party, yeah, we had a party, but we didn't learn from it. See, exactly, that's the point. Like, we had a damn funeral, which you should have said, because it should have been a funeral, but yeah, they treated it like a party, and then didn't learn from it, and then post ratchet, degenerate, ghetto ass shit on media, in twerk and Instagram and all these posts. And like, this is what I mean. That shit needs to stop. It cannot. Like I said, you can twerk all you want, but like I said, you have a good time in the right setting. Like, a party is a party. You can joke. You can have a good sense of humor, but you do not. Okay, how do I say this? You don't have a funeral and don't learn something. That is some bullshit. In fact, I'm going to say something that's going to make some people mad, and this is one of my flaws. This is why, I always take it up to that, level. I feel like, man, if you had a funeral and you thought it was a joke and had a party, maybe you need to have a couple more funerals. Did you get what I'm saying? Maybe you need to have a couple more funerals until you get the point, until you really understand like the bigger picture of all this. Because shit is not funny. It's not a party. It's not funny. And that's what I mean. Us as blacks is like, how can we be so fucking stupid? Like, how are you going to actually make light of something that's so serious? Like, what really should happen is it should have been like almost like, I don't know if you're Christian or wherever people are, but it really should have been more of like almost like a sermon style lesson saying like, okay, this is why us in the community need to not do this. We need to be better. And I mean, internally and seriously, people actually with conviction. That's the key word, conviction. um, with actual conviction, it's kind of like when a person is getting off drugs, how they have a conviction, like they're like, I don't want this anymore for my life, and it has to change, right? It's that, or like when a person is like, let's say they're like 400 pounds and then they want to be healthy or something, right? It's a certain type of conviction that sinks in that you say, okay, no more. It's that same type of conviction that us as blacks have when we feel we've been disrespected or this or that or whatever, and we want to get even with someone, and then we get that, like I said, we take it back to the, and we really, getting into the mode to do something really serious physically. You know what I mean? It's that same die-hard Braveheart, like the movie Braveheart, of all movies, which was whites not blacks, but you know what I'm saying. It's that warrior spirit that's that primal shit. That's that primal jungle shit where you're like, I'm getting even, like dead or alive. The key word. I'm gonna get even and teach you a lesson. That same conviction, you need to put it into, you get what I'm saying, the positive. Like, you need to take that same conviction in Terminator Die Hard mentality. Like, you're not going to let anything stop you. You're just going to be walking through walls. You're just going until you've made your friggin' point. You have to have that same mentality, but instead It's where you, and this is very hard to do for us, you now say, okay, my entire way of living and thinking was wrong. Now I have to change, and I have to make sure that I do the things that are right, that I already know to do that are right, but they're just incredibly hard. Because it means I have to break my programming. It means I have to get out my comfort zone. It means I have to deal with the threats that may come from other blacks. It may, that are ignorant. Let's just keep it real. That are the ones that are still being ignorant. I have to know that that is the negative repercussion for me now being in the right place and doing what is right, and working towards the place that I know will get me to where it's right. You have to realize that, like, and at the same time, in that very moment, you have to have, like I said, that same mentality. And even a step further, you may have to, like I said, a person that comes at you a certain type of way, that comes at you like in a threatening manner, or whether it's physical, or whether it's like over the comments or whatever it is, you may have to look into yourself and say, well, you know what, I'm going to have to resolve this in a adult human, calmly safe, civilized manner, and be like, well, you know what, I may not agree with your opinion, but we have different opinions, you know. And like I said before, obviously, if someone is out of control, like a wild rabid dog, you would have to protect yourself, possibly. There's no other choice. But you have to also be adults enough to put your pride aside and your ego aside, also, and de-escalate a potential dangerous, threatening situation. And also realize, like, look, I want to be the guy who's respected and who is, a human being. I don't want to be, uh, some, that's gonna sound so messed up what I was gonna say, but I was just, never mind. But I was gonna say, I don't want to be this one of these Jakari, us blacks with the crazy names, this Jamari Jakari so and so who got shot because blah blah blah, or he's behind bars now, and like, now he has charge on top of charge because he fought on top, and now he's like, next thing he's living his life in jail pretty much. You know, do you want, like, you don't want that to be your story. You know what I mean? As a human being, you don't want to be a an animal. And like I said before, and I was saying before, of if you do certain things, you will always just be seen as an animal. You know what I mean? And maybe you be successful, like, maybe, like, there's a lot of us that were successful that lived certain ways. There's a lot of celebrities even that live certain ways, and they're successful to this day. But we're not 50 cents. We're not that's what I mean about it's an illusion. You know what I mean? Like, these 50 cent dudes in these the game and friggin' whatchamacallit. I'm trying to think of this other person whose name you know what, whose name I want to mention, but I'm not even gonna mention this guy's name. You know what I mean? Because God forbid, he probably would never see this video, but I wouldn't want him to see this video and be like offended. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of a fan of this guy's channel too, so I'm not gonna mention this other person. But there's a lot of these gangster dudes to where, like I said, like, yeah, you could be this quote dope boy or whatever, just, you know whatever you want to call it, person, a legal person. A legal person, I guess you call it. I like to call it illegal. You want to be an illegal person, but just because some of those type of people made it out and became something huge and almost achieved like a, I wouldn't say godlike, but just achieve this massive wealth, massive popularity, status, success, because they had a talent. Um, that's the smallest percentage. Most of us out here, if we do something crazy that's going to get us in trouble, we're in serious trouble, and that's kind of just, it's a huge setback, and we are not, like I said, we're not stars. You know what I mean? But just in general, as a culture, we need to assimilate with the rest of the world. I'll be honest, man. I've talked about this before. Um, how like I'm a Satanist. I am a Satanist. You know what I mean? Amongst other things, and like I said, sometimes if you knew me, you would know Steve can be straight up Knuckles out the jungle. you know, Knuckles out the portal, Sonic the Hedgehog, like an ape, just tearing shit up, wild, just beyond Tarzan, literal Tarzan, out on all fours, beyond just. You'd be like, what's wrong with it? What is wrong with this guy? Like he's you know. But like I said, that's a part of my personality. That's a wild part of me that I realize has to be kept in check. You know what I mean? Needs to be put in check. That seriously needs to be put in check. I can't be, just an animal. That's not a, if you're just an animal, somewhere or another, something horrible is going to happen. That's just how I look at it. Like, animals get put in cages for a reason, man. Think of it this way. I hate to compare people to animals and dogs, but think of it this way. The dog down the street that, how do I say this, behaves itself, probably die of old age, probably get put down eventually and die a happy little death, like dogs do. But the rabid, crazed dog, like the pit bull down the block that did some crazy shit in, had to be put down by, I don't know, like it could be in police force, a citizen, you know what I mean? Think of the difference. That's a little different, right? You get what I'm saying? Or the dog that was taken away, that had to be put in a pound. Just look at it like that. Like, look at it like it's the possibility. So I look at myself sometimes and I'm like, yeah, I can be unruly and out of control sometimes, but I I'm learning and I have learned, like, I'm not perfect, but I am learning and I have learned that, like, um there is a better way. Always. There's always a better way. Uh and yeah, sometimes you feel like you have nothing to lose. Like I talked about this before in a rant, and I may even link this rant. But I talked about how, like, I hate poverty. Like, I hate being poor. I hate struggling for things. I hate having to live in a poor man's lifestyle. But at least I'm in a place that is, like, safe. A place that is not like certain places out here where, there's always gang violence. There's always. I live in a better neighborhood, in a better area. So it's not to that level. But anger, like I said before, sometimes my anger gets out of control. Like, it gets so out of control, and I can feel it. I can sense when it's like rising up to the point where I am becoming an animal. You know what I mean? Like, in that instance, I am an animal in that instance, and that is what I mean. Needs to stop. That animal shit needs to stop. We can't be doing it. And it can't be our culture. That's the thing. That can't be like our culture. I'm gonna cut this off after I talk about this. So, you guys ever heard of the thing about? I think it's certain Indians. They're like, what are they called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. But there was a certain group of Indians. I'm butchering this story, but this makes a good point. There was some type of like British occupation or something, and they refused to give up their weapons, right? So they have that. That's like and I understand where that pride has to come from, because that goes against, like I said, that goes into that very primal, very ape, very warrior. That's like that mentality where you're not going to let somebody disrespect you. You're not going to let somebody mess with you. God forbid, if something's yours, no one, whatever that thing is going to take it from you because it's yours. You're not going to let anybody disrespect you. You know what I mean? Um, It's that same type of mentality, but you have to understand the thing with Indians is you see what they did, how it was they took it was a positive way that they did that. They didn't take it out of control. Now out of control is if you're like literally out of control is like when you're assaulting someone because they bumped you or because they were this or whatever, or whatever, and it was a situation where it could have been like de-escalated, or yeah, you could have looked like someone might have said, "Oh, he's a punk." They'll think you're a punk. They'll be like, "Oh, because he didn't do this or he didn't say this or whatever, or he let her even like as a woman, act a certain way, um, and you didn't do a certain thing." So they look at you like, "Oh, whatever, it wouldn't have been me or whatever, right?" But as blacks, we take it in the wrong way, and instead, over stupid stuff that could be resolved, we get out of control, like as if it's like the end of the world, or like this is not the movie Braveheart. Like this is not men from foreign men that are like occupying or controlling us, literally wanting to have sex with our goddamn wives before we marry them. Like that's when it's time to get ape, and it's time to revolt and get crazy and cutthroat, and like nobody's going to take what's mine. Nobody's going to that's but that's not the world we live in. We're not living in a world like that. Whether someone may try to tell you that or not, like try to tell you that you know white people are this and that and they're evil and they're trying to do this and that and blah 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 blah. Like obviously that's propaganda some people preach, but in reality, no. Most of the things that we as blacks honestly fall for and fall in these pit holes are things that could have either been resolved, usually, could have been resolved, or at least could have found a better way, you know? Instead of going to that crazy route, which it's very easy to get like that, especially if you're a certain type of person. Like I'll even admit myself is on that spectrum where it's very easy for me to get a certain type of way, but just no, you know. Nah, we have to be better than that. And like I was saying before about like the elegance and the tact and the I don't even know what to call it. It's just an elegance that comes with a lot of other races. And I'm not saying like it's just because they look a certain way. You know what I mean? Like I'm not talking about that like facially and physically, and they have this elegance about them. This, or some people will call it fineness. The fine features. Fine culture, fine art. Yeah, this. You know, I'm talking about like I'm talking about how you behave. I'm talking about like how you behave. You have a lot more of a choice in, like I said, to have like an elegance about how you behave and do things, and culturally. You know what I mean? Culturally. You know, it's like we need to be better. Like we need to get to that level where culturally as blacks we have that same elegance. You know what I mean? Where it's to like a level of class. Where it's a level of class to where it's not going to be like the Boondocks Xbox killer type of shit. I hate to make light of it, but I'm just trying to make it funny at the same time because you guys know what I'm talking about. Xbox, you guys know what I'm talking about. The Xbox killer. Like, oh, somebody got shot over a game of Madden. Someone got shot over an Xbox game. Like, yeah, that type of shit. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Oh, look, it could even be like the poker game shooter. Oh, you got mad at the poker game, you shot. Like, it's like, whoa, man. It's like just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to shoot someone or shoot it. Like you know, like just because you can knock people out doesn't mean that you have to throw fists all the time. Just because of that, it doesn't mean that because you have knuckles that you use them, that you have to use them. You don't have to use them, right? Just because you have a temper that is crazed. That's one thing we suffer with as blacks, is having incredible, just crazed temper. Whether we're capable or not. Some of us have, because some of us are not capable. Some of us are fucking pussies. But we have this, we have this crazed fucking ego and temperament about us. So this has gone on long enough. This is your host Steve from the back. And this rant had to be done. This just had to be done. So I mean, I feel bad for this whole thing that happened. That this person had to, have their life taken. That there was like women involved, minors involved, or minor involved. This is horrible that things like this happen, but this is the world we live in. And when I make a rant like this, I'm just saying how I feel can help this plight that we're in as people, like, of us. It's not the white man. It's not what do you call, a system. It's not oppression. It's not any of that. It's just us needing to learn to be better and to evolve, to just evolve, and assimilate into other races so we can be respected as a social class. So it can be like, the same Indian and same British man and the same this and that or whatever. We can, walk into the room and, we can have the same respect. We can have the same respect as a culture. Over enough time, we could accomplish this. It has to take time, but what I'm saying is, it can be done, and it should be done, and me and as an individual, there's things that I'm doing currently. I think I got bit by a mosquito, I'm itchy. But there's things I'm doing currently, and there's things that I have been doing to try to be better, right? Because someday I want to put myself in a position to where I can be, a wealthy or at least just successful person and be respected, just saying. So this is your host Steve from the back, coming at you again, and I'm trying to grow this channel. This channel is really small. Oh shit, hiccups. This channel is really small. I'm trying to grow this channel. I want this channel to explode like some of these other channels out here. And like I said, we're always going to be what we are, so we can still get down like we always do, because we are what we are here. You know what I'm saying? We're still warriors. We are still warriors. Those like myself. So it's not like we can't play around. Like, we're still crazy out here. We're still wild. We're still who we are. We still are what we are. Still what I am. I'm still satanic. I'm still, I'm still all that. But you also have to realize, like, look, you can be who you are, but there comes a line that you can't cross. Because as an individual, you want to keep yourself on a good path, and you also want to improve your culture. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of those guys who's like super Afrocentric, and is like, how do I say this? It is like saying, oh, we need to do this as blacks, and I'm like, whoa, slow down, like. But I believe in betterment of people in general. Like, in general. It's just I have a certain way of handling things in my certain way of thinking. And there's certain things I believe in and certain things I don't believe. But I'm saying, what do I think help? What do I think helps us, like people that look like me, as a culture? I think what helps us as a culture is, like I said before, is to try to understand how to be successful, how to be a respected individual and be respected in the other realm of the other races. You know what I mean? Like to not be the bottom of a barrel and not always be looking at like hooping, hollering fucking apes. Now, am I going to get shut down for hate speech? Are you going to block this, blacklist this, or is YouTube going to say that was hate speech because of the language I'm using? Are you fucking stupid? Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? I feel like grabbing, that. Are you out of your mind? See, I'm just playing. I'm not seriously. But I'm saying it to say, like, are you fucking crazy? you know, obviously, come on. You know what I'm fucking saying. And if you're, this is the funny thing, this is the kicker. Blacks like to be on some bullshit and like to pretend, like, oh, and act offended. You know what the fuck I'm saying. You know when you're acting like a goddamn baboon. You know when you're out of line. So take it was, take the rant as it was given, take what you can get from it, and hopefully someone out there who's watching understands what I'm saying, and hope maybe this would even help someone who's been thinking similar type of thoughts like myself, who's like, you know what, uh, we know where success is, us as blacks, like we know where it's at. But the thing is, are we willing to do the work or change things that we need to change to get where we're trying to go, right? And even like as a culture, do we really want to make the changes in our culture at the risk of the death supposedly of a culture? You know what I mean? People feel like their culture is going to die, and then they're going to just be washed out or whitewashed or whatever they're going to turn into the rest of the world. Well, I look at it like this: if it's going to make the world a better place, or it's going to embetter the black man or race, well then so be it. Then we're just gonna have to just change. I don't know. You know what I mean? We're just gonna have to evolve. Things just have to evolve. That's the end of the rant.